Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, sir.
All right. So we continue with our class. So for today, I want us to look at software management. So let's look at the
Please,
objective.
we can't hear you clearly.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me now? Is it clear? Is it audible now?
I think the volume is down.
The volume is down.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Please, can we all hear?
Can you all hear me loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So
Yes, sir.
for today's discussion, I want us to look at software management. So let's look at objectives for today's discussion. So for today, after today's class, we'll see how to install various types of software that we have, identify the tasks a setup program performs during installation. When you are installing your program, what are the necessary things that go behind the scene that is being done by the operating system? We explain when and how to uninstall software. So sometimes you finish installing a software and then you don't like the software again. So you have to uninstall it. So how you uninstall those particular software that are no longer needed. Then we describe how to reinstall software, including the operating systems. So, like I said in some of our classes, I told you that when you buy your laptops or your personal computers fresh, most of them don't come with the operating system. In those days, you have to buy the operating system and install. But now it's like the people who sell it install the operating system together with it, which will look at whether are we being pirates or not. So after today's discussion, we'll see whether what is being done is that the right thing to do. We'll look at all those things. So then we identify the software license. So we'll look at software licenses and then the various types of software licenses that we have. So the words to know or the take-home words for today are one, activate, end user license agreement, freeware, mobile app, mobile domain software, registry, setup program, shareware, single user license, site license, software registration, system recovery disk, and then uninstaller. So these are the keywords that we should get to know. So we'll start off by looking at installing a software. So we said some time ago that if you buy your PC and then there's no software in it, then the PC more or less is like an electronic box that is sitting on your desk, your lap, or on your uh, laptop. So some people describe the piece of hardware as an electronic idiot because without a software, it doesn't think for itself. So those instructions or those beautiful things that a computer system is doing for you is the software. And before the software will be able to perform the function that is being done,
Sir,
it needs to be
sir,
done.
please, your
I'm not the
Yeah,
one, Sadia
yeah,
or
your voice is echoing.
we are getting feedback.
no, it's
Yeah.
Sadia. Sadia should mute his mic. Sadia Alima.
Sorry.
Aha, good. So as I was saying, the software is just a set of instructions that tells the computer how to do. So if you have a software, you need to install it before the software will be able to do whatever the software developer intend for it to do. So we have a setup program. And this setup program is included with the software which guides you through the installation steps and then prepare the computer so that it can be used on your computer system. So the method you use to install your software actually depends on the personal computer you are using the type of software you are installing, and then how it is distributed. Gone were the days that when you have a software, mostly it is being distributed on a CD. So you realize that if you have a software that you want to install, then it comes with a CD. It will be on a CD for you, and then you have to go and then buy that software. Once you buy it, there's some CD, you slot it into your CD-ROM drive, and then now you install it. But now most PCs that are coming now, laptops, are even done, they don't even have the CD-ROM drives anymore. So you could see that that method is very obsolete now. So the method that you are going to use to install your software depends on the PC that you are having, whether you are having a Windows-based system, or you are having an Apple or a Unix-based system. And then the kind of software you are also installing, and then how it is being distributed. So you typically install 4 types of software. So if you are installing, then you are doing 4 basic things that you are doing. So the first one is the desktop application. So the desktop application, then we have the Windows 8 apps, we have mobile apps, and then utility programs. So most of the utility programs are the drivers and the system tools that we have. So these are the types of software that you install on your computer system. So when we look at the desktop or the laptop, then let's say our personal computer, we said that when you are installing, from the previous slide, we said the method that you install depends on the PC that you have. So if you have a personal or a desktop laptop, then the type of system software, or not the system software, the type of software that you are installing will be a desktop application, a Windows 8 app, a desktop operating system, and then either system software, which you are referring to as the utility programs. Then sometimes we also have our smartphones and then a tablet. So if you are having the smartphone and tablet, then the type of application or software that you will be installing are the mobile app and then the mobile operating systems. So when you go and buy your laptops fresh, you see that if you buy it fresh, when they open it, they do some installation for you before you go and then download some of your apps and then install. So those ones are the types of software that are being installed. And then that one is being installed on a tablet or your smartphones. So depending on how it is being distributed, so we are saying that another method that will determine how you install it is the way in which the software is being distributed. So this distribution here means that I am the software developer. I sit at wherever I am, I develop my software. Then when you want to use it, how do I get it to you? So that is what we mean by the distribution method. So in the olden days, we use the CD or the DVD. So either you are distributing your software through a CD or DVD. So you put the software together with the setup guidelines, everything on a CD, and then the users or the end users will come buy it and then go and then slot it into their CD-ROM drive, and then they can install it. Or you get a website. So I'll develop my software and then I'll put it on a website. Then you have to log on to that website. Then you download a compressed file. You open it and then you click on the installer, and then it helps you to be able to install the software. So that is what we mean by from a website. And then the third method is from a store app. And then now that is what most of us now use, which is the current method that we use to be able to distribute software. So you see that most of you go to Google Store or the Play Store or the Apple Store just to go and then download any particular software that you need to be able to install. So these are the methods that we use to distribute our softwares. So if you are using the distribution method, which is CD or DVD, then all that you need to do is to slot in your disk into your DVD drive, and then you wait for the setup program to start. So once you slot it in, the computer or the operating system will detect the setup programs, and then it will start it automatically for you. So if your setup does not start automatically, then you have to use the file manager, such as a file explorer, and then you locate the setup programs. So usually, if it is not, if it doesn't start, then this is what you do. That is, you are using the CD or the DVD distribution, and by default, it should be able to start automatically once it detects it. But if it doesn't, then you go to the File Explorer, you go into your CD or DVD drive, and then you see the files that are on your disk. Then this is the setup program. You double click on this, and then the setup program will guide you through how to be able to install that particular software. So this is one method that you can distribute it. So the setup program actually guides you through the steps to install it, choosing which component that you want to install, and then selecting the folder for that particular software that you are installing. So by default, most of them, if you don't select a folder, they have been installed on the drive C for you. But sometimes you don't want it to be installed on a drive C, so you can determine where that particular software will be installed by selecting the folder for it. So another way that we say you can install the software or you can distribute it is from a website. So this one, the software together with the setup programs are contained in a single compressed file that the software developer will make available on the website. So if you need it, all that you need to do is to go onto that particular website, and then you click on the download to save that compressed file on your hard disk. So most of you have been downloading software this way. For example, if you want to install, let's say, Visual Studio, which is an app that software developers use, you go to Microsoft website, and then there's a link there or a button there called download. You click on download, and then it will download that particular file. It's usually a zipped file that will be downloaded. You unzip it, and then you click on the installer, and the setup program will automatically be installed on your system. So once you download it, then you use the file manager to extract the files, and then you double click on the setup. So once you extract it, either you use the file manager or you use any the WinZip to extract it, or any decompressing software that you want to use, you zip it or you extract it, and then you see a file named setup.exe. That's anytime you see anything with a .exe or a file with the .cxe extension, then that tells you that it is an executable file. Then you double click on the setup.exe, and then your software will be installed on your program or your computer. Then there's another way that now software developers are distributing their system or their software, that is using the Store app. So this Store app provides access to apps that are designed for a particular operating system. So depending on which operating system you are using, then you go into that particular store, and then you download your app. So those of you who use the Windows, I think you go to the Google, that's the Android system, you go to the Play Store, and then those who use the iPhones or the Macintosh operating systems, you go to the Apple Store, and then you download the particular software that you are looking for. So these are the three ways that we use to distribute the software. So once you locate the particular software that you are looking for at your Play Store, you see a button called Install. There are some that are not for free. So those ones that are not for free, you see a link where you can go and then purchase. So once you click on that link, it will redirect you to a page where they'll ask you to enter your credit card details or how you want to pay. Either you are paying through Momo or through Google Pay, or you are paying through a credit card. So once you are able to purchase, or once you made the payment, then the app will be made available for you to install. And then most of these things, you install it through the App Store. So it will be downloaded and then installed at the background for you. So this is how you also do the distribution through the app stores. Now, you have the softwares now. So we want to look at the installation processes. What are the processes that you go through to be able to install the particular software on your system? So the installation tasks. So if you are installing on your personal computer, then we say that the setup program performs these actions, or these are the tasks that it performs during installation. So number one is that it copies files. So the setup program copies files from the distribution location to the hard disk and then create a log to indicate where it will be stored or where it stores the file during installation. So either you are installing from a CD, from a website, or from App Store. Once you get access to the setup program, once it is been installing, then what your installation process will do, the operating system will do, is that it will copy the files from wherever you are distributing it from, and then it will go and then put it on your hard drives, and then create the log where all the files that are needed for your computer or for the software to be functioning well will be copied into a particular log folder where those essential files will be. Then it also extracts files. So the setup program extracts the file if they are stored in a compressed file so that it can be used in the installation. So during the installation process, it copies and then it extracts it. So the extraction here happens when you have a zipped or a compressed file. Once you have that compressed file, it needs to be extracted and then put into the log file or the log folder that was created for you. Then the next thing it does is to check for existing version of the software. So if already I have an older version of the software, if that one is found, then the system, the operating system will tell me that there is an existing software on it. So if it is the earlier one, if it is an earlier version, and then now you have a current one, then the setup will tell you whether to do an update or to stop that installation. So sometimes you need to go and uninstall the existing software before you install the current one. So during this stage, it checks to see where whether an existing version of it is installed. Then once there's no existing version installed, then the next thing the installation process does is to verify the system requirement. Like we said some other time, you need to have enough memory. You need to have enough hard drive space to be able to store the system or the software that you are installing. So if you don't have enough memory, you don't have enough hard drive space, then the installation will not continue. So sometimes you see it checks and then it's going through, and then the operating system will prompt you that for the setup to continue, you need an additional space of this. Then sometimes if you don't have a space, then you see people going to uninstall some programs that they don't have just to make room for that particular software that they are trying to install. So during the installation stage, it verifies to see whether you have the system requirement. If you have enough memory, enough hard drive space, then it will continue the installation process. Then it goes to the next stage, which is it finds drivers and other system files. So the setup program looks up and activates drivers that the software will use. So mind you, we say the drivers are utility programs that the system software, which the operating system is going to use to communicate between the software. So there are some programs that need these drivers. So during this time, it looks for those drivers. Sometimes you see that maybe you are installing Bluetooth. Normally, it is Bluetooth that when we are installing, we usually experience those things. You are installing the Bluetooth software, which will enable your PC and then maybe your phone to be able to communicate. Sometimes if your Bluetooth on your machine is not working, they ask you to go and download and install. So during that stage, that is where it goes and then find the driver. So most at times, some of these drivers are found online. So sometimes they'll ask you that you should be online before you try to install. If you are not online, then that means that you have to manually install that particular driver before the installation will continue from there. So during this stage, it finds the drivers and other system files that the program will need for it to be able to function. Then it goes into the update system file. So the setup program provides a configuration data to the operating system so that it can run the software. So usually these update files or these system files are stored in the Windows registry, which is a database about your computer's configuration. So every program that you installed on your PC will have a registry or will be registered in the registry here. And the registry is just a database about the information of your programs that you are installing on your system. So it just go and then update that particular registry that, okay, fine, I am also here. It's just like when you are admitted into a school, after your matriculation, they ask you to sign a matriculation oath and then go to submit it at the registrar's or the registrar's office. Once you've done that, then that means that you are registering with the system that, okay, I'm also now a new student. This is my ID. Anytime you need me, this is me. I'll be available. So during the installation also, the software has to go and then register itself with the Windows registry.
Please, there's a hand up.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. You mentioned that when you are installing a software or program which is not on your computer, they mention you have access to internet, then the software will go on the internet and find whatever you are looking for.
The drivers.
The drivers to be installed before you go ahead with the installation. So I want to ask, is it the best or you need a recommendation?
You know, there are some softwares that when you are installing, it needs some drivers for it to continue. So sometimes you see that you are installing some software and then they tell you that maybe the software needs to communicate with your Bluetooth. But at that particular point in time, your drivers are not found on your machine. So once the drivers are not found, and since you are online, the software setup program will try to look for the driver so that the software can be able to communicate with that particular hardware. So it goes online to look for that particular driver. So I'm saying that
with this process, won't the computer be exposed to, let's say, virus or something?
No, that is why you need to have an antivirus on your system before you do all this.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So the last stage during the installation process or task is that it provides a way for you to start the software, which is it adds the program button or an icon to your graphical user interface. So most of the time you see that once you finish the installation and you say setup finish, you see that a graphical user or an icon will be created on your desktop. If it is not on your desktop, then you click on all programs, and then you can go and then locate that particular software that you have installed. So these are the installation tasks that we have, or the processes that the setup program will perform during the process of installation of your software. Then sometimes, let's say you don't have enough space on your machine, and then you are installing, and then you need more space. So in that case, you have to go and uninstall the application so that you may have enough space to be able to install. So we have the Uni installer or uninstaller software, which is a tool that is similar to the setup program that you can use to go through the process and then remove or uninstall the application that you don't need. So for example, to uninstall a Windows 8 app, you right-click the app's tile on the start screen and then the app screen, and then click the uninstall button. So mostly you see that if we are using our smartphones, you just right-click on that particular folder or folder or program that you want to uninstall. And then you see that there will be an option say uninstall. Then you click on that particular one just to remove that particular program. So once you do that, you are using the uninstaller to be able to go through that process to remove that program from your computer system. So as we just said, to uninstall a mobile app from an Android tablet or smartphone, you use the application manager on the setup menu. So most of these smartphones comes with the application manager. So if you don't want to go through that one, then you go through the method that I just described for you when you are using the Android. But those of you who are using iPhones, iPad, and then iPod touchscreen, you hold the apps icon, and then you see the X, and then you just click on it, and then it will uninstall your program. So this is the button that they are calling the X. So you press here, you hold, and then the X will appear, and then you click on it, and then it will uninstall that particular program. You can also uninstall a driver or utility program. So still you use the uninstaller to uninstall the driver or the utility program that you have. Mostly it is recommended that you use the uninstaller. The reason is that when you are using the uninstaller, it uninstall that programs, and then you realize that during the installation, it registered itself in the system registry on the Windows registry. It creates some log files. So once you are using the uninstaller, it goes and then remove all of these folders that come with that particular program, all from your computer system. But sometimes if you don't use this process, and then you see that you uninstall, but there'll be some traces of some of the program files that comes with it still on your computer system. So if you don't immediately replace the deleted operating system, normally you don't need to uninstall an operating system. If you uninstall the operating system, then that means that your computer system is dead. The system software, in this case, the operating system, we say that one is like the school prefect of the or let's say the headmaster of the school. So if the headmaster is not there, the school is dead. So the same thing, if your operating system is not there, when you uninstall your operating system, then there's no way that your system will function, because during the booting process, it is the operating system that comes in place, prepare the background, everything, and then allows other programs to be able to function. So it is not even advisable for you to uninstall your operating system. But if you do, then you replace the deleted operating system with one. If not, your computer will not run. So the operating system runs your computer. Without it, the system will not function. So don't uninstall your operating systems. So what are the processes that goes through in the uninstalling task? So when you want to uninstall your programs, what are the processes that goes through? We look at when you are installing the processes that goes through. So when you are also removing a program, then the uninstaller performs these tasks. So the first one, it deletes files. So it also deletes the log file that were created by the setup programs, so that you can go and delete the software files. So mind you, when you are installing, a log file is being created where all the files that the system needs will be in that particular log files. So if you uninstall it, then that files to need to be deleted. Then restore system setting. So if the setup program change the system setting, then the uninstaller restore them to their original settings. There are some applications, immediately you install them, they want to be they want to take charge of some functions of your system. For example, if you are installing some browsers, they ask you whether to make you that software the default browser. So if it is made by default and the software didn't ask you, you could realize that immediately you install that particular software, whenever you are opening you want to go to the internet, you no longer use Internet Explorer, but that is the software or that one that we'll be using. So when you uninstall it, it restores the system back to wherever it was first before you install it. Then it restores the graphical user interface. So you realize that the setup program put a graphical user interface on your desktop or on your machine where you can go and then start the program. So once you are uninstalling it, it has to go and then remove that particular a graphical user interface from it. And mostly that is what you see to know that your system or that particular software have been removed from your system. So it restores the graphical user interface. That is, the uninstaller removes the button, the icon or file for starting that particular software from the graphical user interface. So if you have installed the software but it's not running properly, then you have to reinstall it. Sometimes we see this, we install your apps, but realize that the app is not working well. So if that happens, then the general rule number one is for you to reinstall it. But before you do that, then these are the steps that you need to take so that you can be sure that the system actually works. So you uninstall the software, you restart the computer, install it, and then install update if it has prompted you to do so. Doing so will solve every steps that it makes during the installation process. So reinstalling an operating system. So most setup programs or operating system provide an option to enable a fresh copy of the operating system while retaining your data and settings. So this usually happens if you have an operating system. So maybe you have an operating system, maybe Windows 7, and you want to move to Windows 8. So sometimes when you slot in the Windows 8 drive or you download and then you are trying to install, the system will detect that, okay, do I have a previous version of this software on my system? If it's yes, then it gives you an option that you can either reinstall from fresh or just to do an update so that you just have an update on the previous ones that you have. So you can install other operating system as follows. So those of you who are on Mac OS, if you want to reinstall an operating system, then this is the process that you go through. You choose the restart command on the Apple menu. Then you hold down the command plus R keys. Then when an option to reinstall Mac appears, you click on it and then you follow the instructions on your screen. Then for Linux, the method usually varies from Linux distribution. There are different flavors of Linux. So depending on the one you are using, then you have to see the manual that comes with it to see how that reinstallation of that particular operating system is. Any question? All right, so for those using the iOS, you reinstall or update the iOS by connecting your smartphone or tablet to the computer. So most of you who are using the iPhones, you know everything you need to do. They say you have to go to, how do you guys mention the name? Is it the cloud or something? Those who are using the iPhones. You don't know?
iCloud.
iCloud. So you go to the iCloud and then you have your options there for you to do your update or if it is fresh installation that you want to do on your iOS. Then for Android users, normally we just go to the app stores. And then when you get there, you see an update or you update your Android by using the setup tabs. So you see that most of us who use the Android, especially the techno phones, which are now very common in Ghana, you see that you go to your settings, and then once you locate the settings, you see an update button there. So you click on that one, and then it will check for the update. So if you've not set your phone to be updating automatically, then manually you need to be going there to update or reinstall the software, or which is the Android system for you. Then now we want to look at a software license. So software is or let's say software development is a business that people do, so that all of the developers, that's what they do. So once I have developed my software, one way that I can let you use it is through a software license. So software license is actually a legal agreement that specifies how you can install it and then use the software that you purchase. Hold on. Hello. Yeah, my class for mom. Yeah, I'm making sure. Okay. So one way that I can make my software available for you to use is through the software license. So the software license is just like a legal agreement between you and the developers, asking for permission to use their software. So the permission that they are giving to you will specify how you can install it and then how you can even use the particular software. So there are different types of software license that we have. We have one known as a single user license. This single user license gives only one person the permission or the right to install and use the software. So mostly you see that the softwares that we installed on our PCs, most of them are single user license. But how do we do? Most of us in those days, when you are looking for a software, you just ask your friend, oh, do you have a software? You say yes, then he give to you, and then you also go and then install. Usually when you do that, you are infringing on the copyright you are infringing on the copyright of the software developers. And then if they get you, you can be penalized for it. So a single user license means that one person can use that particular software at a time, or just one person can use that copy of the software. Nobody can use it again. So what some developers are now doing is that usually it is these hackers who try to hack into the software and then create a cracked version so that you can also use it. But it is against the copyright law. So most of them, what they do now is that once it is a single user license, that particular software, once you get it and then you are trying to install it on another machine, it will tell you that this software has already been installed on one machine. Therefore, you can install it again. Then we have a site license. With a site license, multiple users can access that software at the same time. So usually, schools go for this site license. Let's say, for example, GCTU, we have our labs and then we are trying to install a particular software. So in this case, we will not go for a single user license, but we'll go for a site license because multiple computers will be using that same copy. So in this case, multiple users will access that software at the same time. And then usually this software license or the agreement that you are signing together with the software developers is usually contained in what is known as the end user license agreement, which we are referring to as the EULA. And then mostly this EULA gives you the terms and conditions that you're supposed to use. So when you install or whenever you are even installing a freeware software that you don't pay for, mostly you have to go and then read the terms and conditions. But most of us, what we do is that we don't read the terms and conditions. All that we are interested in is we want to install the software, then we just go and then click on agree and then we install. Sometimes it could be that the developer will tell you that once you agree using this software, we are going to pick your personal information, example, your emails, and then we can make it available to a third party if the person requests for it. Because you didn't read the software, the end user license agreement, you just agreed to it. That's how come you see that most of us, we receive unsolicited emails from some people, and then we ask ourselves, where do these people get our emails from? It could be that it was contained in the end user license agreement, which you didn't take your time to read. So next time that you are installing any software, take your time, go through that end user license agreement. before you go and click on agree before you install your software. So some EULAs state that you can install the software up to 2 computers that belong to the same person. Some will indicate to you that you are installing a student, academic, and therefore you cannot use it for commercial or revenue generating activities. So if I have made my software available to you and then you are installing it, those of you, okay, you guys are HR, so you don't know. There's some particular software that they make an academic version for it. So meaning that it is intended for students and then for those in the academia to use. Meaning that that same version of software can also be used for commercial purpose. So if you are a student or a researcher, they allow you to have that academic version and use. But if you deceive them that you are going to use it for student, even once you click on the student version, then there are some functionalities that will be disabled if you want to use it for commercial purpose. But the point I'm trying to make is this. If it is for academic purpose and then you are using it for commercial purpose, then the software developers have every right to challenge you or take you to court. So you should always take your time to read the EULA. There are some softwares, after installing it, you need to register and activate the software before you can use. So you install, and then before you use it, you have to go and then activate it. So software registration, what does that entails? It just means that you are identifying yourself to the software manufacturer or the developer, so that tomorrow, if there's an update or any support, you can be able to receive it. But the reason why most of us don't get support from Windows is that we are not the original owners of that particular license. As we said, there's a site license and there's a single user license. So if it is a single user license, after installing it, you have to go and then activate that particular software. And during the activation, that means that you are registering the software with Windows and tell the Microsoft and tell them that I am so and so. I am using your your software. So during that process, once you are registering with them, they will pick your Mac ID and everything of your system, so that in case of any support that you need, they will be able to provide you with those technical support, or any update that comes, they can be able to give it to you. So there are some people who legitimately use a software that they bought from a company, and there was some. So what I'm trying to say is this. If you install a software through a proper license, let's say you buy the license from the software developer, and then you are using the software, and then there's an accident or you lose some, maybe you lose some money through that software, you can sue the company for it, the software developer for it, if you have the license for it. But since most of us don't have the license, if anything goes wrong with our machine through the use of that particular software, we can go and make claims for it because we did not register or we did not buy the license from them. So always, if you are going to use a software for a commercial purpose, then it is recommended, highly recommended, that you get a license, the correct license. After that, you try and then register your software. So there are some that make you activate your copy of the software, which means that you need to enter a serial number or activation key. So you see that after you've installed, then they tell you register. After registering, then you need to activate. It is during this activation stage that they ask you to pay. So once you pay, then they make available the serial number or the activation key that you can enter. Once you enter it, then that means that you are free. You can install that particular program. So activation is a way software developers can ensure that you install the software only on the number of computers that has been specified in the license. So if it is, I go in for a single user license. So during the activation, they will ask me for a serial, or they will ask me, or they will generate a serial number for me. Usually when you register, they will take the MAC ID of your PC. Every computer has got a unique number called a MAC ID. So that MAC ID will be taken and then registered in their system. So if I go in and then install the software on another machine, during the activation, they'll generate a serial number, and then that serial number, they'll realize that this serial number has already been matched with this particular machine. Therefore, you can use it. So that is one way that they'll see whether the license that you use, are you going with what we have specified in the license agreement or not. So there are some developers that make you use the software for some period number of time. If you are okay with it, then you have to go and then activate it. So we have something called the trial period. And usually this trial period, they give you like a month or 3 months for you to use it. So, but there are some software that that are mostly available on Google Play Store now. You activate, and then they'll tell you a trial version. They say 2 days, and even before you use that trial version, they ask you to pay. I'm sure most of you have been seeing those types of softwares in the system. So usually, this trial version is just a way for letting you. They try to see or expose you to the system. Use it. If you like it, then come now and then activate. So during the activation process, then you have to pay. So if you did not activate and then the trial period is over, the software will stop working, or some functions will not even be enabled for you until you go and then activate the software. So developers make this software available to users in the following forms. So you have different types of users. So if they develop a software, either it is a commercial software, and usually these commercial software are developed and sold for profit. So the software developers, they develop it and then it is for a commercial purpose. So that means that you have to go and then buy that software. And mostly these commercial software are custom software, meaning that they are done, not custom per se, but like this commercial software, usually we call them off-the-shelf software. Anybody at all can just go and then buy it and then use it within his organization. So those are the commercial software. Then we have the shareware. Shareware is distributed free of charge as or by the website, by the developer. So they make it available for you to download free of charge. Then after using it for some period, then they ask you to pay a small fee for you to continue using it. So that is the shareware. So as developer, or some developers, what they do is they either they are making that software as a shareware. Shareware, it is free. You download after using. Then they ask you that, okay, fine, trial period is over. Now, if you want to continue using, then you have to go and then buy the activation key to continue using it. Then we have the freeware. Freeware is a software developer. It's a software developer makes available for users free of charge. So this one, you don't pay anything for its use. But once it is freeware, it doesn't mean that you own the software. Just that the software developer is saying, okay, you use the software for free. So, but you can go and then modify the software, or you cannot go and download a freeware software and then go and then sell it to another person. If you do that, you'll be going against the copyright of the software developer. Then you have the open source software. So open source software, they are created in a collaborative programming effort and then released under a license that allows anyone to use it, modify and distribute the software. So open source software, that one, nobody owns the source code. It's like a group of programmers who come together and say, okay, fine, let's develop a software. So I'll develop some parts, I'll make it available. Another person can take my piece of code, modify it, I enhance it, and then leave it to the community. So those ones are what we refer to as the open source software. And this open source software, it is not owned by anybody. So an example is Linux and Android. They are examples of this open source. So you could see that no specific person will be attributed to be the one that is the original owner or the the owner of that particular open source software. Then we have the public domain software. So this public domain software is the only type of software that is not copyrighted. So one thing you have to know is that we have something known as a copyright. So copyright just protect the intellectual property of software developers. So once you produce a software, it is it's being protected by copyright. And copyright is just preventing people from stealing your software. But if you develop a software and you make it public domain, then that means that it is not protected by copyright. So that means that the developer had donated it for public use. So with the public domain, there's no copyright on it. Anybody at all can copy, distribute, or resell that software. But you cannot apply for a copyright on it. So meaning that if it is public domain, I can pick it, modify, sell it. But once I'm selling it under a public domain software, I do not have that exclusive right over it. So I cannot sue somebody for using that particular software, which is a public domain software. So these are the types of software licenses that we have. And then when the software developers are developing, these are the types of software that they develop. So one thing you must note is that when you are going to buy or you are installing a particular software, you ask yourself some of these questions. The license you are using. So if it is single user, then only you can use it. If it is site, then maybe multiple users. And even the site license, they specify the number of people that can use that software. So during the activation, they will tell you that you are left with only one person to activate. So if you activate for the last person, then that means that that particular license is over. Nobody can use it again. So this brings us to the end of our discussion for today. If you have any question, you can ask. Any question?
Yes. So when, let's say, what causes a hard drive to crash? Maybe you are installing or downloading something.
Yeah, so hard drive crashing is not as a result of you downloading.
Okay.
So usually that is a hardware issue. And
Okay.
then usually if you look on the surface of the hard drive, if you open the hard drive is like a plate that have been packed. You see when you go to the chop bar, you see how they put the plates down. So they'll put one plate, another plate on it. So
Okay.
in the hard drive, we call those things platers. The plater, one of them should not be able to touch the surface of another one. So if one of them is able to touch, then it crashes. Or it can crash as a result of dust. So maybe where your computer is, there's a lot of dust there. So those dust can enter into your hard drives and then it will cause it to crash. Or human hair, when it gets there, pollen grain, all those things can cause your system to crash. System crashing is hard drive crashing is not as a result of the software you are downloading.
Okay. Okay. I'm asking because I think there was a time I was downloading something on a laptop and it says there's not enough space, but I still continue to download, and all of a sudden the laptop went off.
And when you started, did it come again?
It came, but later it affected the what's the name? Is it a hard drive or the hardware? It's affected it later.
How did it affect it?
It was not working again.
Yeah, so
I
this
have to send it to repairs.
Yes, but that is not hard crash. That is
Okay.
not your hard drive crashing. So this is it. It's like you see when you go to a lecture hall You sit on a desk.
Yeah.
Then that desk, when you sit, there's some small space available there.
Okay.
Then there's one big person coming, and then you want to force yourself, or that big person want to force himself onto that seat. What will happen? The seat will break down.
Yeah.
That is the same thing that happens. So there will be no enough space to store that particular program. So the operating system will shut the system down by force, because you are trying to force me to do something that I cannot do at this material moment. So it will either it freezes it, or it shut down the system, just to save you from going through that process.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So I'm sure next week we are not meeting.
No meeting next week.
Okay.
Yes, please.
All right. So enjoy your Easter festivities. I'll see you guys when you are back. Bye-bye.
Same here. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. So, Dr. Prince said he will be with us exactly at 4:30. So let's set our alarms and then wait. And then we also have the French midterm coming on exactly at 9 p.m. Exactly at 9 p.m. So enjoy the rest of the moment. Bye for now.